Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, what's up? Long time no see. Just was with you guys about an hour ago. As far as the day games, I only placed one bet, and it was a half unit on that stupid square parlay, which obviously didn't hit. My picks in the early games, Braves won, and Pirates staying under their team total under. So those two were good, but I parlayed Cardinals and Phillies. The only one I actually bet lost a half unit. All my bets are really in these night games. Speaking of night games, let's talk WNBA first. Chris is here. We got 3 games to talk about. First one is Washington on the road at Indiana. The Fever are now laying 5.5. This line's been on the move, right?
Yeah, opened like 4.5, and then it went to 4. And then it went to 5, and now you see 5.5, which is crazy to think that the Indiana Fever, with the worst defensive rating in the WNBA, is now expected to get enough stops to win this game by multiple possessions. Not a way that I'm looking at all. I actually like, so I'd only be looking towards Washington plus the points. They've been really, really good. Didn't bet it. They've been really, really good in the first half specifically. I think they're 8-3-1, and this is a revenge game. They did just lose to the Indiana Fever, and this was before they got clicking too. When I look at this game, Kyle, I see the total actually on the move as well. It was 166 when I did my show this morning. It's up to 167.5. I like this game to go over. I think you could isolate and look at the first half over with the line going up just a tad bit. I think first half over might be a little bit more in play here. So I looked at last 5 game stats. They tell me that the Indiana Fever of all teams are actually averaging the second most first half points. And you got the Washington Mystics right behind them. They're also in the top 5. Both of these teams averaging north of 42 points in the first half. We only need 82 in the first half for a winner. 82.5, I think, is the number.
Both first teams half also, total 82.5.
82.5. Yeah, both teams also top 5 in 3-point shooting, and that's really what it's been. Washington has continued to play with pace. They continue to play fast. They've been knocking down some shots, and this is without Shakira Austin and without Brittany Sykes over there. So that is less defense and more. Their offense is kind of clicking right now. They've also been playing a little bit faster without those 2 ladies. And the first time, this was when Washington wasn't clicking on offense yet. They still got the 82 in the first half between the two. So I do believe Washington has kind of found their stride offensively. They are playing fast. They are shooting and making a lot of threes. And Indiana Fever, I already talked about how poor they are defensively. I think they'll be able to contribute as well, because in the last few games with the Fever, they've really asserted Aaliyah Boston. She won Player of the Week, I think, Eastern Conference Player of the Week. And, they've been running a lot of pick and roll action with her and Caitlin Clark, and it's been effective. So if I'm playing this side, I'm taking the points with the Washington Mystics. If I'm playing a total, I'm looking over, but I do like the first half over 82.5 a little bit more.
Cool. And I was just looking, the Indiana Fever have actually won 3 straight home games. 3-0 in their last 3 at home.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about that, Kyle, just really quickly, is remember we talked about this at the beginning. I said that at the beginning of the season, I said, man, the odds makers, the schedule makers were not good to the Indiana Fever. Remember, they put them they had 11 games when everybody else had 7. So now, they're not traveling all over the place. They've had time to actually get some practices in, and their chemistry is actually looking a little bit better. So I understand why the line is on the move. I'm just not into laying points with them, but I do think that they are a better team than the Washington Mystics currently constructed.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Atlanta, Minnesota. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Atlanta, Minnesota is next. The Dream at the Lynx. Minnesota laying a big number. I think this one's down too, though. I could have sworn I saw 10 earlier.
It was 10 earlier. So I think it opened 8 yesterday, and then it went to 8.5 this morning. It was up to 9. Now it's up to 9.5. Then you saw some 10s, and you see it back down to 9.5. I absolutely cannot stand the Atlanta Dream. But I will say this. Minnesota, they've kind of priced out. They've kind of priced me out with laying double digits with them. They failed to cover their last 2 games. And they were playing against some pretty weaker competition as well. I know one of those games was against the Minnesota Lynx. One of those games was against the Sparks. They didn't cover. And then the other game was the Dallas Wings game without Arike Gumbuwale. They still didn't cover that game either. I think they ended up closing 15. My theory on the Minnesota Lynx, while they are one of the better offensive and defensive teams in the WNBA, My theory on the Lynx is that they got a big Commissioner's Cup game coming up. And that means a lot to them. They're going to play against the Liberty next week. I think it's next week in the Commissioner's Cup. So I think that's why they kind of taking their foot off the gas just a tad bit. And as much as I don't like Atlanta, Cal, they do play better on the road than they do at home. A lot of it is due to just their ability to be able to score the basketball. I think they're like 6-1 to the under at home, but on the road they're like 3-1 to the over. So I'd only be. This is the biggest line that they've, the most amount of points that they've, been able to get as a dog on the road. So that's the only way I would look. I think, Coach Tanisha Wright did switch their lineup up just a tad bit. She has Cheyenne Parker-Tyus coming off the bench now, which proved to be effective against the Sparks. I know they're nothing like the Minnesota Lynx, but 10 is a big number, and the Lynx just can't continue to cover it. They haven't been able to cover recently. So I'll be taking the points here. I agree with the line coming back down from the 10. Didn't play this one. It's not in my pocket because Atlanta's kind of been all over the place. They gave the Mystics their first win of the season, but then they also beat the Aces. So I have no idea what to do with Atlanta right now. But I do. If I had to play the game, I'd be taking the points with the road dog here.
Helms is on the other side. Helms says he's taking Minnesota minus 8.5 because the Dream are 1-4 against the spread coming off a win. So Helms is on the other side, but I wouldn't let that sway you. He's not a very good bettor. Let's go on to the next game. Seattle.
Oh, your girl Area Powers is out as well.
I know. I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, that does not make me want to. That's another reason why I'm not in the betting, because she is like the sixth. She's probably in contention for the sixth woman of the year. Like, she's definitely by far Atlanta's best bench player. So yeah, that would kind of keep me off as well. But Minnesota, they just kind of lackadaisically, out here playing basketball, not really covering any of these numbers.
Next game up is Seattle on the road in Vegas. Andy, for those of you who are watching during March Madness, Andy works for us. He's in the office. You'll see him during college football again. He says the Seattle Storm +7 is his lock of the day. And he wasn't being funny. Like, he really thinks it's the lock of the day.
I like it. I like it a lot too. So I understand, so this line opened at 5 in favor of Vegas, and it's actually moving. We see it it's all the way up to 7 now. I'm with Andy. I don't agree with the movement. Understanding though, so it's two sides of the coin here, and I understand for the Aces. Like, people are thinking that this team is 6-6 straight up. Last year, Kyle, for reference, they finished 30-6. Yeah. So they've already lost as many games as they lost last year. On the run to their second straight championship. And people are thinking it's going to be a bounce back here. They also lost to Seattle already. They lost that game, 78-65. Seattle came in there, really locked them up 12 days ago, and won outright at 7.5-point dog. So pretty similar in this spot. Now, the Aces do get Chelsea Gray back. She is probably the best point guard in the WNBA. She's yet to play a game so far. She was listed as questionable in the last two, but Becky Hammond didn't insert her into the lineup in either one. Then you also have Asia Wilson at the podium, pouring her heart out, crying out real tears that, they're kind of struggling right now, and she really believes in her teammates. So I understand, motivationally, the Aces coming off another loss. It makes sense, that they'll bounce back in this spot. But I just think it's a really good matchup for Seattle. And specifically, I like the team total over, just to kind of stay away from the spread. I agree with the total going up. It's up from 168 up to 172.5, 172 on most books, continuing to go up. And Seattle team total this morning was like 81.5. I think it's up to 82.5 now. But first, we got to talk about pace. Number 1 and number 2 teams as far as being able to get up and down the floor. The Vegas Aces they've taken the title of fastest paced team away from the Sparks, and away from the Storm, and now they're first, and the Storm are now second. So then you got Vegas, who get Chelsea Gray back. I think that's going to help their offense a little bit, but I don't think it's going to help their defense. I think she's going to be rusty on defense. The Seattle has a lot of good guards out there with the Gold Mamba, Jewel Lloyd, and they also have Skylar Diggins-Smith as well at the point guard position. I don't think it's going to help her. I don't think it's going to help them a lot defensively, her being out there. And she's only going to play for spurts of the game. Then you got an Aces defense that after a loss, Kyle, this team does not bounce back defensively. They bounce back offensively and score a ton of points, but they're 5-0 to the over when they're coming off a loss. And they've allowed each one of their opponents to go over their team total in all 5 games. That the total of 82.5 or 83.5 is something that they've allowed in every single game off a loss so far this season. They allow 91 points per game, so each team would have cleared this number. Then you got the Storm coming in off a bounce back against the Phoenix Mercury. They're also 3-0 to the over coming off a loss. Their team total eight. Their team, they're averaging 89 points off a loss in their following game, and they've gone over their team total in every single game after over this team total after every single game as well. And you just get, I think it's a nice bounce back spot for Seattle. They scored 78 points against the Phoenix Mercury the other day. They shot 36% from the field, only 30% from the 3-point line. A lot of that was Jewel Lloyd. I think she shot like 3 for 15. And she just lit the Aces up 12 days ago. I think she had like 25 points. So I agree with the market going up. I don't necessarily agree with the Aces being able to score that many points because we've seen Seattle be able to lock them up. I think they play a little bit better, but this team was just held at 65 points. So thinking that they're going to score 90 plus against the number 3 rated defense, I'm not quite in agreement there. So I'll isolate it and take Seattle team total to go over because the Aces defense, they have to prove it to me before I'm just going to blindly say, oh, I'm scared of them because they lost a few games and they get their starting point guard back.
Yeah, it looks like our community is leaning towards the Storm also, 51%, 38%. I would lean towards Aces here. I don't trust them.
Okay. Why? Talk to me why.
Oh, I don't know shit. I have no the Storm, just not a team I trust. Angel Wilson, best player in the league. I'll lay the 7. Everyone's down. This is time for a buy low on the Aces here. Aces minus 7. I don't know.
You know what's crazy, Gal, is you got the Aces laying 7, and people thinking that that's a buy low spot for them. Where is
buy low spot for the Aces?
You're not the only person that thinks that way, Cal. Like, yeah, they're not projected to win by 17, so let's just take them. Yep. A lot of people are thinking like that.
Aces by double digits. All right, let's skip it over to some baseball. Chris, thanks for joining, man.
Absolutely. Best of luck to the community, man. Best of luck, Kyle, on all your MLB action.
Yep. Talk soon. All right. Oh, S thoughts on the Aces. Jesus. Oh, man. Drowsy today. Need to get some sleep tonight. All right. Toast is back. Toast, you cost me a half unit earlier today, bro.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
I placed that stupid Cardinals-Phillies parlay I was trying to raise the morale of the group. So I blame you for it.
Yeah. A lot of people do. I get it. It's all good.
All right. So
if it makes you feel any better, I called the Reds game exactly how I thought, and Brian Reynolds hasn't had a hit in, I think, fucking 2 weeks, and he hit a go-ahead homer in the 8th. So that makes you feel any better.
It's all that. All right. First up, Seattle, Cleveland, and I'm on the guards here. I laid the 1.5. Got plus 145. Had Seattle yesterday at plus money. Switching to the other side now. Got my money with Seattle yesterday. Now switching back over to the most, or one of, I believe they're the second most profitable home team in Major League Baseball. But it's not just back in Cleveland at home here. It's not even really a bet on Tanner Bybee. It's just Brian Wu on the road against a shitload of lefties. Guardians coming off a loss. Seattle used all their main bullpen arms. Am I crazy about laying 1.5 points with the home team? No, especially against a Seattle team that I think's really good. And Brian Wu, by the way, who I think's really good. I think Wu's the man. But if there's a terrible spot for him, it's on the road against a bunch of lefties. And Cleveland's lineup loaded with lefties. Let's go check out the projected lineup to see how many. I didn't even look at it, but it's Cleveland, so you know they're going to be loaded with lefties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lefties projected to be in the lineup for Cleveland. I expect Brian Wu to get hit up, which is something that hasn't happened this year. I'll let Cleveland get to Brian Wu. Cleveland has the big bullpen advantage as well. Getting plus 145. I think it's a nice little plus 145 bet.
I'm on Seattle. Lines moved like 15 cents. So this is like the same situation as the Reds earlier today. Like, I wouldn't suggest anybody tail me on this, but the only thing that's telling anybody that Brian Wu's going to get hit up is his FIP. I mean, he's been fantastic this year. So if Cleveland comes in and just hits him up, so be it. But I don't even think that Cleveland has that big of a bullpen arm Gaddis, Smith, Barlow, Henches. I mean, they've all went 2 of the last 3 nights. And then if you take a look at Seattle's bullpen, sure, Munoz went 22, but Stanek only 4, Thornton only 12, Voth only 2. I mean, Seattle's essentially got a full bullpen behind them. So I'm still confident with Seattle. The line movement's scary as hell, but yeah, there's no way I'd play Cleveland here.
Well, on the other side, I'm rolling with Guards -1.5. Next up, Orioles, Yankees, and this sucks because obviously we all want to bet this game, right? It's Orioles, Yankees. Garrett Cole's back.
Why does it suck?
Because I don't really know how to try to make a prediction here with Garrett Cole making his first start of the season. He hasn't pitched since last year. Povich has only made 2 career starts, and they were polar opposites. One of them, he looked absolutely excellent, and the other one, he got absolutely crushed by Toronto. So we just got only 2 starts to work with from Povich, and they were so far apart. And then you got Garrett Cole, who, even his history against Baltimore is a little tough to get a read on. His last start against the Orioles, he was excellent. 7 shutout innings, I believe, only 3 hits. So the last time he saw Baltimore, shut him down. But his last 2 starts against Baltimore in Yankee Stadium, the O's hit him up twice. So I'm having a real hard time trying to find some betting value in this one. I do want to bet it. I think if I had to bet the game, it would either be Yankees -1.5. You could put that up for me. I'm not betting this. Yankees -1.5, or maybe a first 5 over. You can get it down at 4. Cole, a little bit of rust. Cole, you got Garrett Cole, a little bit of rust against an Orioles lineup that hits righties. They hit on the road. I think we can count on Baltimore, get at least 2 or 3 off them, and then it's Povich making a road start in Yankee Stadium. His only career road start was in Toronto, and he got completely crushed by the Blue Jays. There's no Aaron Judge in the lineup, as Toast just told us a few minutes ago. So if I was to bet it, it'd be Yankees -1.5 or first 5 over, one of those 2. But I think I'm just going to end up passing on this one.
Baltimore team total over 3.5. Yeah, there's no way I'm passing up the Baltimore bats at a low team total in Yankee Stadium. I just can't do it. Like Kyle alluded to, the last 2 times that they've seen Garrett Cole, they've scored 5 runs each time. I will say that there's the start in 2022. He went 8 innings. I mean, he gave up 3 runs in the 3rd. And then a couple late. I mean, it wasn't as bad as it probably looked. But again, what Kyle alluded to as well, the Orioles on the road, last 14 days, a top 3 lineup, last 30 days, a top 7 lineup, and against right-handed pitching, last 14 days, number 1, last 30 days, number 1 as well. So regardless of how Garrett Cole pitches, I don't even know how long to expect Garrett Cole to pitch tonight. I have a hard time believing he goes 5 or 6 innings just being his first start. So they saw Clay Holmes yesterday. Obviously, he gave up a homer. They also saw Luke Weaver yesterday, and Luke Weaver went 2 of the last 3 nights as well. So he's probably not going to be available knowing the Yankees. So given the fact that those top 2 arms are a little bit compromised, I feel okay with this Baltimore team total over 3.5.
I mean, I don't even hate that bet. If I had to pick a total, it'd definitely be over here. But yeah, so I'm not betting that one. Next up, Boston. I have a bet down on this. Let's see what the price did, because this is I think this is actually the first bet I placed last night. So I placed this bet 16 hours ago, more like 18, 20 hours ago. Let's see. Want to see if the lines moved on it.
What do you want? I can tell you already.
I'm right here. Oh, so okay. No, so the price, it moved against me. I have Boston team total over 3.5. I think there's a graphic for it, Prop Beaver. Or at least there's supposed to be. We'll see if Andy. There we go. So yeah, I'm on Boston team total over 3.5. I got it at -125 or -130. Looks like you can get a -110 now. So it's moved against me, but still doesn't change my opinion about this bet. I mean, Gausman has been getting rocked at home. No question. His numbers at home are terrible. And yeah, he's not going to have a 7 ERA at home in the entire season. Obviously, he's going to bounce back and start throwing well at home at some point. But is this really the game we think it's going to happen against Boston, who seems to be hitting everybody? Red Sox are one of the hottest lineups in baseball. In fact, if it wasn't for Grimace, I'd probably say the Red Sox are the hottest lineup in baseball right now. They should get a couple runs off Gausman, not to mention the Blue Jays bullpen is terrible. I also thought about taking the full game over, but I have this weird feeling Bayo's going to finally pitch a good game. So I wrestled between the Boston money line, Boston team total over, ended up going here in case Bayo continues to get rocked. So I got Boston team total over 3.5 in this one. I bet this.
Yeah, Toronto money line minus 130, Toronto minus 1.5 plus 160. Yeah, I really like Toronto in this spot here. I'll probably fall flat on my face with the Toronto Blue Jays, but I don't even really I felt like I got extremely lucky to win my Boston bet yesterday. I mean, they got 1 run in the second, 1 run in the sixth, and then two late off the bullpen. So again, I'm not trying to make a case that they're cooling down, but I mean, yesterday wasn't nearly as impressive as the last few days prior to that. And Bayo is like one of my favorite pitchers in the league, but he has just been absolutely terrible. His last 7 starts, he's had 1 good start against the Nationals at home. And besides that, it's like 5 or 6 innings, giving up 3 or 4 runs at the minimum. Not to mention the fact that behind him in the Boston bullpen, Kenley Jansen's went 3 of the last 4 days. Bernardino, who I think is their second best guy in their bullpen, he's went 3 of the last 4 days as well. So Justin Slayton went yesterday, but he only went 2 pitches, so he's going to be fine. So and then as far as the Gausman side and the Jays, I mean, look, I understand that he hasn't been good at home, but I feel the same way as you, and I don't know how you meant it, but I don't feel like he's going to continue to have a 7 ERA at home either. So I don't think that the start against Cleveland was that bad, 5 1/3. It was 8 hits and 3 runs, but that Cleveland team's pretty damn good as well. And Baltimore, another team that's very good as well. I understand that Boston is hot right now, but I also don't think that Boston lineup compares to Cleveland or Baltimore on an everyday basis. So he's had decent success against this Boston lineup at home as well. So I think this is a Blue Jays spot. Like I said, I felt very, very lucky with Boston yesterday, and I think the Blue Jays can get this one. And I played the 1.5 just because Toronto doesn't play very many 1-run games at all.
All right. So that's a sharp pick there with Toronto.
And we got reverse line movement, so we'll see what happens.
Tampa, Minnesota. So I talked about this one. I did a video of this one last night. We were talking about it in the Discord. Let's get people probably forget the poll running first. But I think it's a sneaky spot to play an over, and you might be looking at Taj Bradley, a couple of his game logs, and looking at Joe Ryan, looking at the Rays bats, and thinking, how could you play an over here? I invite you to take a glance at the current state of these two bullpens, because it is an experience. Both of these bullpens are completely rocked. I haven't bet this yet. Part of me wants to try to wait, maybe like when it's 1-0 in the 4th inning, and try to get like a live over 5.5 or something. I don't know. I'm probably just what I just said is probably not reality. Probably not going to happen. But both these bullpens are rocked, and I mean really crushed. You know what? Let's pull it up. Even the arms that are available are crushed too. So, I mean, you got Fairbanks has thrown 3 of the last 4. Jason Adam, 2 of the last 3. And, I mean, 46 pitches. Clevenger will be available, but he just pitched yesterday. They got some of their other guys, but, again, 2 of the last 3 days. These guys are heavily used for Tampa. And on the Minnesota side, I mean, Duran, 2 of the last 3. Jax, 2 of the last 3. Alcala, 2 of the last 3. Both these bullpens just in really bad conditions. Also, are the Rays climbing out of the slump a little bit? Now, I'm not going to say they're going to get to Joe Ryan, but I don't think it's crazy to think they could get a couple runs across on them. And Minnesota, I haven't even mentioned the Minnesota bats yet. It's one of the hottest lineups in baseball. They're right up there with the Red Sox and Grimace as one of the hottest lineups in baseball. So I think down at 7.5 that this is worth a shot on the over. Like I said, I haven't bet it yet. I really don't know what's holding me back. I guess I'm a little worried because when you take a step back and look at it, it's like, oh shit, it's Rays Twins with Joe Ryan on the mound. Like, what am I doing taking an over? Maybe like the looking at it from like the surface level is a little worrisome, but I think this game goes over the total. So I'm really considering this.
Yeah, I'm on the Rays here. I just feel like this price is just kind of a little bit too crazy because I actually think that the Rays are going to get to Joe Ryan personally. I just feel like sometimes teams can just get a little bit hot. And after what I've seen the last 2 days of this Rays team, and I feel like Also, Minnesota has very, very good numbers, yes, but they've also played Colorado and Oakland and Pittsburgh back to back to back, and they put up a ton of runs. So I don't necessarily believe that the Twins bats are as hot as they look. I understand that they've been putting up fantastic numbers, but like I said, a lot of that was against Oakland and Colorado, two teams. I mean, they put up 17 runs one night against Colorado and then followed it up by double digit or 6 runs each against the Oakland in a doubleheader. So again, those numbers are pretty high. And Joe Ryan is a guy that I just don't really trust a whole bunch. Like, I understand that he's pitched well at times, but I just don't like him as a huge favorite at home. And I just don't think that this Twins team is as good as everybody makes it out to be at this price. Like, I understand that the Rays are bad, but at the same time, like, I actually think that Taj Bradley can pitch really well here today. I understand he had a blow up in Baltimore, but he looked really good against Boston on the road, and he's pitched a lot at home, but against Boston and then Baltimore and the Royals and the Yankees, I mean, he's pitched really well against some really good teams and really good lineups. So I think Taj Bradley can pitch well here today to alleviate some of that bullpen issues. So yeah, I'm on the Rays at a big plus price.
All right. Rays plus 140. I mean, the Twins bats, as we know, they could get cold with the best of them. They've been hot recently, but is anyone going to think it's crazy if the Twins line up in 4 or 5 days? We're talking about them as ice cold. No, we see they do it all the time. So,
and again, I will say that the starts that I talked about with Bradley were at home, but the Yankees and Baltimore, I mean, when you go 5 and 6 innings against those two lineups and don't only give up 2 runs, like that's really impressive. Like, sooner or later, he's going to pitch well on the road. I think it could be here today.
Next up, Mets, Rangers. Prop Beaver, just put it up, please, for me. You guys know what it is. I mean, do you need me to say it? Grimace money line.
Yeah, I bet I did the same thing.
How could you not? How could you not?
I was gonna say I didn't. There's no point to even overthink it. So, yeah.
All right, let's run the poll. I want to see if the community is also on Grimace.
And also, Manaea's his last couple starts. I mean, the Padres one was good. I mean, but the Phillies in Arizona, I mean, those two teams have been pretty heating up against left-handed pitching. So, yeah. And it's the Rangers anyway. Like,
Mets square as fuck at this price.
Yeah.
Dude, whatever team's won 7 games in a row is going to be square. Like,
yeah.
You're never going to find a team that's won 7 in a row that isn't. Duh. Who is Grimace? Someone said. Google him.
And also, you can't say that this is lucky either. Like, when you're putting up the 7+ runs, I mean, every single night, 14, 11, 5. I mean, you're just hot. Like, I'm not a Mets fan. I'm not a Mets lover, but I hate when people are saying, oh, this is just lucky. This is just a lucky run. Like, when you're putting up runs like that, you're just hot. Like, that's not lucky.
Yeah, they're crushing the ball. They're the hottest lineup in baseball in like 3 or 4 different metrics. Like, they're actually the #1 road lineup in baseball on the season. So that's not like, oh, the Mets are all of a sudden hitting on the road. No, they've been crushing the ball on the road all season.
Last 14, last 30, full season. 1-1-1, 1-1-1, 1-1-1. This isn't new.
All right, next game. Houston. So yeah, communities all over the Mets, which is understandable. I mean, they've won. I think they're like 11-2 in the last 13, 12-2 in the last 14, 7 wins in a row. Mets are hot. Next up, Houston White Sox, and this is, I don't know. I didn't know what to do here because you can't step in front of Crochet right now. He's unhittable. No,
especially after what the Astros looked like yesterday. So, I mean, I guess you could play it under. I don't want to touch this game. Yeah, I mean, Hunter Brown has looked fantastic. Really, really good. Again, especially his last 2 starts. I mean, I would lean the White Sox. If I had to pick a side, it would be the White Sox. Not only has Garrett Crochet been really good as well, but like I said, Hunter Brown hasn't given up a run in his last 2 starts, but that was against Detroit and the Angels. Yeah, I mean, he's only made 1 other road start in his last 7 starts, and that was against Seattle. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hunter Brown gave up a couple runs here today. So again, it is the Astros. They're capable of anything with those bats in that lineup. But again, there's no way I bet them. So I would definitely lean White Sox here, but I'm not going to bet it.
Hold on. What happened in this game last? Let me see.
It was 2-0.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't. The White Sox. Oh, because Cannon went 8 2/3. That's why. I was expecting the White Sox bullpen to be taxed. It isn't. Dude pitched the whole freaking game.
He damn near. Yeah, it was unreal.
I would lean towards Houston. You want to put an Astros up? I would lean the other way, but I didn't bet it. It's just I can't step in front of Crochet. The dude's a monster, but at the same time, if he throws 7 shutout innings, are you even confident that the White Sox are winning at that point? I think it might be 0-0. So yeah, it's Houston.
What's the total at in that game? If it's at 7.5, I would say over. Then, if that's what if you really honestly believe that, then I would say over.
7.
Oh yeah, then I would say definitely say over.
No, I think it could be 0-0 after 7. No way. Next game, please.
First 5 over 3.5. I bet you hits.
Dodgers, Rockies.
Pass.
Dude, Prop Beaver's chuckling. Bobby Thriller?
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers -1.5 minus 140. So, I mean, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I expect the Dodgers to win, especially after last night. Yeah, I don't want to pay 140 with Bobby Miller, who hasn't made a start in 2 months. So maybe an over. If you would think
why is it at 10.5?
Well, I was just going to say, if you think that the Rockies are probably going to score some runs after the bullshit that happened last night, and they've scored runs the last couple of nights, 9 runs and 5 runs the last couple of nights against the Dodgers. It's not like their offense hasn't done anything. So if you think that the Rockies could probably score some runs, I would assume that the Dodgers put some runs on Ryan Feltner. I mean, his last 3 home starts really quickly, 6 2/3, 4 runs against Pittsburgh, 4 innings, 8 runs against Cincinnati, 4 innings, 7 runs against Cleveland. So he's been really, really bad in Coors Field. So hard not to think that the Dodgers don't score runs here. So if you think that the Rockies can put a couple off of Bobby Miller, I wouldn't probably hate an over.
I like the Dodgers to score runs, but I don't know if I trust the Rockies to get to Bobby Miller. So yeah, this will just be a pass for me. Screw this. I have some bets open. I don't need to force one there. Brewers, Angels. Halos up. Probably was going to get the poll up first.
Probably I'm on first 5 and full game.
Viewership dropping without the Prop Beaver on. This is a rough time of year for sports betting. You'll see a lot, just not a lot of people are consuming sports betting content this time of year. It happens every year. It'll heat back up in end of July into August with some football previews and all that.
120 in the first 5, Beaver.
Angels first 5 money line 120. All right, go ahead. I'm on Angels money line also, Prop Beaver. When you can put that up for me.
I bet this as soon as Frelick made that catch last night to save the game for them. Angels were able to get a couple runs off that very, very good Milwaukee bullpen. And now you're not going to have McGill, who's went 3 of the last 4 nights. Piamps has went back to our 2 of the last 3 nights. So not to mention the fact that Freddie Peralta has been really essentially terrible his last 7 starts. He had a decent start against Miami on the road, and he had a decent start at home against the Cubs. But besides that, his last couple his other 2 road starts besides that, on the road in Houston, 8 hits, 5 runs in 5 innings. And then on the road at Detroit, what we just saw not too long ago, 3 1/3, 4 hits, 3 runs. And he got really lucky there. I mean, his control was all over the place. I do think that Angels can put up a couple runs against him. And on top of the fact that Tyler Anderson just continues to pitch well, the Brewers struggle against left-handed pitching. I understand they're kind of an enigma because at times they do look good against lefties, but overall they haven't been really good. And Tyler Anderson pitched pretty well against Milwaukee last year, going 6 2/3, 5 hits and 1 run. So I trust him to pitch well. I know that all of his numbers, like his whips or his FIPS, tell us that he's been very, very lucky. But the fact of the matter is 5 of his last 6 starts, he's went 6 innings and given up 1 run. The only time that he didn't do that was in Houston. He went 6 innings and gave up 4 runs at home. So, I trust Tyler Anderson to pitch well. He continues to pitch well. I mean, he's got a 2.58 ERA this year. So whatever he's doing is working. So, Angels first 5 and Angels full game.
Angel Hernandez said, who did you have in the Nats game? I took the under in that. But, all right, Angels, Brewers. I have the Angels money line as well. And Prop Beaver, since you already made that text thing above, you could actually put Angels team total over 3.5 up on that one since you already have it there. That would be my second. If I was to place a second bet, it would be the Angels team total over. So Toast talked about Tyler Anderson having a great year. I don't have a ton of faith in him. As he mentioned, the expected FIP indicates that there is regression coming for him at some point. But here's the thing. It's not really a bet on Tyler Anderson as much as it is a fade on the Brewers lineup. This is just a spot you fade them. Number one, all year, they've been much better hitting the ball at home. I mean, the splits I'm referring to.
One of the bigger differences home and away in the league.
Yes, they have one of the most significant home away splits as far as offensive production. The Brewers at home, top 5 lineup at Miller, but on the road, we're talking like 25th, 26th. So the Brewers on the road haven't been producing. The Astros are another team that fit that kind of description. So the Brewers on the road, that's number one. Number two, it's the Brewers against a lefty. And again, we're talking another lineup that has some pretty stark differences. They've been really good against right-handed pitching this year. I think they're top 10 in baseball. It's not the case against lefties. They really haven't gotten to lefties. So you get the Brewers on the road where they're not as good. The Brewers against a left-handed starter where they're not as good. Like Toe said, the last time Tyler Anderson pitched against the Brewers, he had no problem. He almost went 7 innings in the game. And then number 3 or number 4, wherever the hell number I'm on, Brewers bullpen is also a little bit taxed here. That's why I added the team total over. If you don't want to take the 150 shot, Angels team total over 3.5. You can get it at plus 105. Prop Beaver. Angels team total over 3.5. And let's pull up the Brewers bullpen. It's not absolutely cooked, but McGill's gone 3 of the last 4. McGill's been their guy without Devin Williams. McGill's been really good for them. Piamps has also gone 2 of the last 3. Paredes 2 of the last 3, including 27 pitches last night. And if you look at the handedness of those 3 guys, all 3 of them righties. Toast, did you notice that?
Yeah. Oh, trust me. Yeah. I was pulling up the numbers. I found my notes with the Brewers and go up. Finish your thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, by the way, Freddie Peralta's been struggling, and Freddie Peralta's not as bad as his numbers indicate. But if he gets in any sort of problems in this game, the Brewers are going to be really limited on what they're able to do in the late innings because the arms they have available: lefty, lefty, righty, lefty. Peguero is the only righty that's not used right now. So they're going to be forced to use a lefty-heavy set of arms out of the bullpen in the second half of the game, which is the whole point of the bullpen is flexibility. You can pick your spots, pick your matchups, and when you're forced to only use lefty arms, it's just not a position you want to be in. Brewers got the win last night. I think the Angels get it back tonight. I think this price is way off. I think it should be like plus 120.
Yeah, and just one other point to the Brewers versus lefties that I couldn't find it because I wanted the numbers. Last 14 and last 30 days, they're essentially 25th in Major League Baseball on the road in general hitting, and against left-handed pitching, it's 26th as well. And then on top of that, one thing as well is that the Brewers don't get score runs late in games against bullpens. They're bottom 3rd in Major League Baseball as well. So I will say it does suck that the Angels do have a bunch of righties in there, but I do have Matt Moore available, so he's another lefty to be able. Is in there, and then Ben Joyce is pumping 103 out the thing, so we should be all right if it gets late in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot to mention that the Brewers haven't been hitting bullpens. Yeah. Someone said Kyle talks a lot more when he isn't hungover. I wasn't hungover this morning. I don't drink like that.
And I wasn't even like pissed off this morning. I'm not going to come on here and pretend like the Reds play. If I lose 20 cents of value, that means I probably read it wrong. Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm super confident in a play and I make you guys tail and then get more mad.
They also complain when you're confident. So like
exactly, I know. The first comment I read was Toasty over 3.5 in the Braves game with Skubal and Lopez. What?
Oh, I know. Well, did he just drop?
Me?
Toast just drop out of the stream?
You can't hear me?
Oh, whatever.
You can't hear me?
I lost connection to him. Hold on, let me refresh my.
It's just me? all by myself. What am I gonna do? Hey world. If he doesn't work Beaver, I'll come back too. Can you hear me? Nope. All right, I'll leave Beaver and come back.
Just get me back in there. I don't know what happened. We just got disconnected for some reason, but anyway. So yeah, we're on the Angels in that one. Toast will be rejoining in a second. Royals, Oakland. Why didn't I bet this last night? I said it, and someone in the Discord was like, thanks for that Oakland pick. And I was like, shit, man, I didn't even bet that pick. So yeah. It was the perfect spot last night. All right, so we got Cole Reagans pitching against Medina. Is Toast back in the stream? Yeah. All right. So Cole Reagans versus Medina. I actually didn't even look at this one. So I don't have much to say on it. I didn't bet it. But just put a poll up, see what they think. Yeah, Seattle. Someone said that Seattle pick was fire. Yeah, I had Mariners first 5 and Mariners full game in that one. So the Mariners was nice for sure. Now I see him. I see you, yeah. We're doing that right after this. We're switching to restream and figuring out how that works right after this. We're not doing this OBS Ninja shit anymore. It's a joke. Oh. Damn it. Toast has a bet on it, too. You can't hear him? Toast, what's your bet? I'll relay it to the people. Royals minus 1.5 at plus money from Toast. All right, hold on. Oakland, I'll just give him the gist of it. So Oakland struggles against lefties. You got Cole Reagans coming off a bad start. He should dominate. And the stream's being weird right now. We're switching our streaming software today. No more OBS Ninja. I'm done with this shit. His last 13 innings against Oakland, 0 runs, 13. What was it? 0 runs, 18 strikeouts, 0 runs in 13 innings. So he's absolutely dominated this team. He's coming off, I believe, what is his worst start? So either Kansas City minus 1.5, like Toast is betting, or maybe an Oakland team total under, maybe a Royals first 5 run line. What's that at? And the Royals bullpen is fresh, Toast just said in my ear. So what's the Oakland team total at? 4.5. Oh, no. You got to, never mind. It's at 2.5. Screw that. All right. So let's just run a quick community parlay and get out of here. Hit the song, Prop Beaver.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We community, making a parlay, yeah.
Someone goes, Mets fans, no McNeil tonight, thank God. All right, so let's do a quick community parlay. Ready? Guardians money line. Yankees money line. Blue Jays money line. No, Red Sox. I'm sorry. They like the Red Sox there. And Twins money line. Prop Beaver's not on probation. Prop Beaver is producing the show. He's the one doing the polls and the graphics that you're seeing on the screen. He's sitting right there. Do you have your mic hooked up? Someone wants to know if you could put a picture of bread where Toast is supposed to be. There was one time where Toast couldn't make the show, and I last minute didn't realize that I had the template set up with Toast in it, right? And it was me, Prop Beaver, and Toast, but it was just me, Prop Beaver. So I took a frozen image of Toast going like this. Like, no, he was going like this. And put him on there, and people dead ass joined the show and watched, and it took them several minutes to realize that it was just an image of him, because he was just like they thought he was just sitting there staring at the camera. It was awesome. Yeah, I think Prop Beaver should have a mic too. I mean, in reality, there's not much. Like, what is he supposed to say? Like, if he's not handicapping the games or anything, like, what is he supposed to add? But I think he should have one to be able to, like, for comedic reasons, if he wants to chime in and say something funny. All right. The Yankees. All right, next leg. Actually, it's first and second place. Who got second place there? Actually, don't include Guardians yet. Just Yankees. Guardians will be in the last poll. Next poll is Mets. Astros, Dodgers, Brewers. Oh no, Angels won that poll. Angels. All right, cast your votes. Grimace? All right, put Grimace up. Who was second place? All right, so Dodgers and Guardians. So in this last poll, it's Dodgers, Guardians, Red Sox, and Royals. And it's first and second of this poll is finishing it out. First and second place of this poll. Are people really that concerned with who The Rock votes for? Is that what they're talking about? Who the hell cares? Yeah, I mean, if he wants to give like exercise advice or like maybe motivational on how to achieve your goals, but that's what they're talking about, right? Oh shit. Dodgers, yeah, put it up. All right, community parlay is Yankees money line, Grimace money line, Dodgers money line, Royals money line plus 655. Let's do it tonight, community. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, underdog pick 'em. Underdog pick 'em. Did you email it to me? Oh no, you're putting it on. But I can't see it on the screen. Just yell it out to me. What is it? Kevin Gausman lower than 32.5 fantasy points. Oh, I can see it now. Taj Bradley lower than 29.5 fantasy points, and Brian Wu lower than 22.5 fantasy points. Woo's been dominant, but like I said, on the road against a Cleveland lineup full of lefties is tough. So that's the underdog pickup of the day. If you don't have an underdog fantasy account, it's available in any state highlighted on this map. So if you're in one of the states highlighted in yellow here, head over to the website or download the app. When you make your account, make sure you use the promo code BET, B-E-T. That'll get you a $100 deposit bonus match. So you deposit $100, they will give you a free $100 to play with. Thanks, everyone, for listening and watching. Let's have ourselves a good night. I had a great Tuesday. Hopefully replicate that today. Make sure you bet responsibly. Good luck in the league. Everyone who's in the league today. By the way, the league is posted right on the website. There's a tab that says the league, and that you can see who you're playing. People keep asking me in the Discord, who am I playing today? You can just go look. It literally says the league, and it shows the whole schedule. So you can see who you're playing today, who your opponent's bets are, what your bets are. So it's posted there every day. So best of luck, everybody.